So from Wrath of the Lich King all the way up until the Cataclysm pre-patch back in the day was about 2 years. It was November 08 all the way till basically November 2010 when we got the Cataclysm pre-patch and it launched in December. Now, how do we think we could see that going in a classic release? They're going to want to keep it to around the same amount of time, about 2 years. Now, I've done some planning on paper, and I can get it to about 22 months. Having it around 22 months will be taking into consideration the arena season lengths, and one of them has to be short and one of them has to be long, just due to the way the content comes out in Wrath of the Lich King, which we'll go over a little bit in a minute. But also try not to have too much content drought, so try not to keep you in a specific raid for too long, other than maybe at the end. ICC and Ruby Sanctum being that little bit longer, because people like doing ICC. There's people who are doing ICC on Wrath private servers continuously for years on end, which does confuse me a little bit, I'll be honest. So starting with Phase 1, so when Wrath of the Lich King Classic actually launches, you're going to have Naxx, Obsidian Sanctum, and Eye of Eternity. 3 different raids. Obsidian Sanctum and Eye of Eternity are single boss raids, and Naxx has 15 bosses in total. Now remember, all of these bosses drop emblems, and you're going to use emblems for gear. You can even use emblems for some alt gear or heirlooms. And when I say alt gear, there's a couple of bits that are BOE, mainly Bracers from Valor, which is the 25-man emblem token that you'll be able to get. So even running these on alts or running them on your main, even when you're fully geared to be able to get things for alts, is useful. And later on in the expansion, you'll be able to get gems from these emblems as well. So that's the good thing about Wrath. The content does stay relevant even if you are just trying to make gold from it. Now the thing is with Phase 1, Naxx, unless it's tuned, is going to be, as I've said in many videos, extremely boring after quite a short space of time. Now this is where you're going to have Season 1. Obviously you're going to have Season 1 and the raids open at the same time. Maybe there's a week grace period when it launches. So if we said it launched on the 1st of November, you know, it would be the next full reset where the raids would open. At this point, the season would start as well. And this would be Season 5. So Season 5 would be a short one. It would go for 10 to 12 weeks. So we're only saying 10 to 12 weeks because, as I say, the difficulty and the engaging gameplay that you're going to get from Naxx is quite short. So we don't want it to last too long. We want to be getting into ULDUAR quite quickly. So we have to accept the fact that something's got to give, and that will be the arena season. The arena season will only be, if we say 12 weeks maximum, so we'll say 3 months of Phase 1, which 3 months of Naxx for the guys who do strictly PvE is already going to be too much. Now this phase is going to last a little bit longer. This phase will go on for 5 months. The reason I think 5 months will be about the sweet spot is because ULDUAR, whilst doing it on its normal difficulty without doing any of the sort of optional hard mode bosses, is still going to be a step up compared to Naxx. But doing the normals will be easy enough. You'll get those down quick enough. It's going to be the sort of hard mode bosses that are going to take the time. And I think 5 months will be sort of the sweet spot. You could extend this a further month and say 6 months of ULDUAR. And I still think with being able to go back and do Naxx, still doing Sarth 3D, because people are going to want the bag that drops, the mount that drops, things like that. You're still going to be doing Malagos because it drops 226 item level gear. So, you know, you're still going to be doing the previous raids. It's not like when ULDUAR launches, you're never going to do anything again because you still might even be trying to get weapons from KT and Naxx. So all of a sudden, you have now got 5 or 6, if you wanted to say 6, 5 to 6 months of a lot of content to consume. And you've now got progress content in the form of ULDUAR hard modes. So now we're looking at sort of 9 to 10 months into launch, and we'll be gearing up for Season 7. So the 3rd PvP season of the expansion, and this is when Trial of the Crusader will launch. Now this, remember, has got no trash. It's not a very long raid at all. You've got normal mode and you've got heroic mode. You've got 10-man and 25-man. So even though it's only a trashless raid with very few bosses, there's still quite a lot of content there if you was going to be doing it on all difficulties and stuff like that. So there is a lot to get through here. But ultimately, it doesn't need the length of time that ULDUAR needed. And also, between Trial of the Crusader and ICC, so ICECROWN Citadel, we've also got ONYXIA that's going to come in as well. So if we have 4 months of Trial of the Crusader, then we're going to have a 1 month period, which would be classed as Phase 4, which will just add ONYXIA. And this would give you a 5 month total Arena Season 7, which is a good amount of time. And we're now well over a year into the expansion already. And also to remember, in what we're going to say Phase 3, when Trial of the Crusader comes in, it also adds a new dungeon and heroic and a new reputation to work on, new dailies to do. There's a lot of content added that would be added in Phase 3, as we're going to call it now. So we're now 14 months into the expansion, around 14 months, let's say. Now we're looking at ICC to be releasing, and this is when Season 8 would start. Now, ICC is one of those raids that's got real good replayability. for whatever reason, it's an iconic raid. Everyone enjoys doing Lich King Heroic, and there's going to be a lot of progress to do because a lot of the bosses are quite difficult on Heroic mode. Obviously, you've got Normal as well. You've got 10 and 25. So again, a lot of content, as well as getting a few new dungeons added, and their Heroic counterparts as well, of course. So just a ton of content. You get Ashen Verdict, the reputation that you'll be working on inside ICECROWN as well. So overall, you do need quite a lot of time for this phase, and ultimately a lot of people will want this phase to last a long time, because once again, even though ICC is where all the good gear is going to come from, you're still going to be going back. Even during ICC days, you'll probably still be doing Naxx, trying to get Undying or Immortal, or getting Champion of ULDUAR, or doing top 25 Heroic, you know, no deaths. There's still loads of the old raids that have got relevant content due to achievements or due to mounts that are tied to them that you're going to want to be trying to get every week. Mimiron hard mode for Mimiron's head. Even though I'm about to say 6 months of ICC, which I think is a good amount of time. You're not going to spend 6 months in ICC. You are going to be going there every week and clearing. But like I say, some of the previous content still stays relevant. So it just keeps it mixed up. It's not like you're just going into the same 1 to 2 raids every single week. You'll still be doing some of the previous content if you didn't get it done in its relevant phase. Here's the problem that I reached at this point. We're now 6 months into ICC, which also means it's a 6-month Season 8. Do we end the season there before Ruby Sanctum comes out and have a 2-month off-season period with Phase 6? Because we're going to say Phase 6 is going to be Ruby Sanctum on its own, which is Hellion. It's a single boss encounter, drops some of the best items in the game, but on the basis of single boss encounter, you're not going to want to have that raid on its own for too long. So I'm thinking 2 months of... This is now 2 months where you'll be doing Ruby Sanctum, but you'll still be doing ICC 25 Heroic every week, as well as all the other bits and bobs that I've mentioned as well. But an 8-month arena season, if you was to do Phase 5 and 6 as Season 8, could probably be a little bit too long. So splitting those two, or having Arena Season 8 start a month or so after the release of ICC would be another way to do it. Me personally, I would just have that last 8 weeks before the pre-patch with no arena season at all. So that's just 8 weeks of basically getting ready for the pre-patch for those, you know, PvPers who are not bothered about doing Ruby Sanctum and stuff like that. That's one way of doing it. When you've got these single raid bosses ending an entire expansion, it does make it difficult with arena seasons. Let me know your thoughts in the comments. I think this would be quite it would shape up to be an interesting Wrath of the Lich King Classic, because it would be 23 months-ish if we was giving that extra month to ULDUAR. So it's just under 2 years. It's about probably where you would like it to be. The content shouldn't seem too rushed. And ultimately, it's a lot of really fun, engaging content. So if you haven't already, hit that like button and subscribe to the channel. Again, let me know your thoughts in the comments below, and I'll see you on the next one.